Boys and girls, Alex here. A couple of days ago I had to go for a check-up at the local hospital, and I thought, damn it, while I'm out there I'll have a quick look through the tool shop. And I finished up buying myself another bloody router, well, actually a trimmer. Now I normally hate boxes or plastic boxes. However, because this bit came in a number of pieces, as you can see from this MDF organisation plate, I call it that I made up, it's got a number of pieces to it, and just to keep it together, a box would have been nice, but it came in a cardboard bloody box. So I made this. Now, you can see the pieces, and if you stop the video, hang on, I'll just zoom in for a fraction. If you actually stop the video, you might be able to even read what the hell they're used for. But anyway, that's beside the point. I'll now put on all the stuff that are there and then continue filming. There you are, here it is populated with all the bits and pieces. However, this video is not about the router or the trimmer. It's more about the box I'm going to make to house the bloody thing. So, without further ado, I'll leave the router bit aside. I'm now going to try and make a box that I can put that base into and go from there. In this video I'm going to make, I'm doing it predominantly to highlight the use of my Frontline clamps, the Frontline clamps I use for gluing up panels. I've been avoiding making a video or a presentation of it for years because they're bloody expensive and not too many people would have them. However, with this bloody C19, there's bugger all else to do. Well, I've got other projects I can do, but I thought, bugger it, I'll take the time to make a video, and who knows, I might actually get the owner, who happens to be now a friend, some sales. Okay, to make the video, the first thing I have to do is put on my Workshop Animal 90, and then the second thing I have to do is come into my glue up room here and clean up this bloody bench, because my clamps are there bound folded up against the wall, and to lay them out, all that's got to go. So see you in a couple of hours, or maybe even in a day's time. Design the shape of the box or the in SketchUp, and brought the dimensions down here to the workshop to know it. No, this isn't SketchUp. This is what I got out of SketchUp, as you can see. Oh, hopefully you can see it. And however, I brought this down here, so notice I've dressed to the nine, I've got my shirt on, so I can actually get the dimensions I really need for the thickness of the panels or the boards. Now I need 239 and 329. Well, 239 I'll get out of two 140mm thickness. 329, well, out of 140 I'll get 280, and there's no way known I can stretch that out, so I can't even put a 42mm onto that, because I'll be 7mm short, so I might have to put a 64, so it'll be two 140s and a 64. Anyway, I'll go and check out my timber and see what gives. Naturally you wouldn't have noticed, but to take this picture I actually had to take the lift. Oh, where is it? There it is. Upstairs. So there you have it. Okay, in trying to calculate the timber for this thing, I decided to do some, heavy maths. So, starting with my fingers, I started to operate my calculator and found out that, well, we've got two sides, which is 415, which is roughly, the two sides is 830. The two side lengths, 660, so we need a length of well, let's just say 1600 for the hell of it. Whoops. Millimetres, I work in mil. Now, we've got a 239 height. That can be got out of, say, 290s, 180 and maybe a 64, which will give me 144, which will more than cover it. So I basically need two lengths of 2 times 90 and one length of 64 for 1600 metres. Now for the lid, I need 329 width. So 2 lots of 140 gives me 280 plus 280, let's just say 264, which will give me 344, which will more than cover the 230. Now for the length of that, I'll need, let's just say 2 lots of 415, so I'll need a metre. So effectively 2 lots of 144 a metre, I need 2 metres. 2 metres of that, and well, naturally 2 metres of 64. I had a quick look through my scrap bin that everybody seems to brag about. Haven't got enough wood, so I'll have to go and put my civvies on and go out and buy some timber. Hell, this is bloody frightening. I've got the timber, and have a look. Jesus Christ, you know, that's a hell of a lot of bloody timber for a pissy little box. Anyway, we shall go and see what we get out of it. Catch you. Well, catch you in the next couple of frames, because I'm now off to the table saw. Not the table saw, miter saw. Yeah. As you can see, I've cleaned up the bench a bit. Now what I have to do is drop those clamps down, the one sitting up against the wall. I've got to get them down, so I've still got to do some manipulation. One of the other things I do have to do is drop the front of this table down. But before I can do that, I've got to move some of that shit from under there so I can drop the table down. That's so I can get in there and swing that around. And look, we'll see what we can do and see what we can record. Okay, let's see what we can make out of this. First thing I have to do is drop this table. Now, fortunately it's got swing down legs, which you can't see because of my back here, but damn it. Locking it in. I'll do this one as well, this side as well. You mightn't again be able to see it, but I'm locking it in, but you'll be able to see this middle bit. This one just folds up. The table drops down. If I didn't have all this bloody other shit hanging out everywhere. There. Okay, that's down. Now, bugger it. I'll switch the camera off because I better clean this tabletop up a bit. I couldn't get to it beforehand. Okay, I've dropped it down, I've cleaned it up. I'll move these out of the way because I'll probably make use of them. You'll see what they're used for later on. Now hopefully the timber I use won't be, actually I'll put it down here so they're not in the way, because I might not be able to reach them. Bring those over as well. Now they can come over here as well, but I can probably reach them. Let's drop these little bad boys down. I might have got away with the shorter lengths of just using 3, but I like to use the whole bloody lot of them. And that's it. Now you'll find that the weight of these actually lifts that bar up. As you can see, when I bring the table up, it's not so bad. That's why these little bad boys, come here, your mother, were made up so you can get one of these little babies. Let's hope I've got it in the right spot. Put it in there, and this little beast, I'll move that over there a bit, goes in there like that, brings this down and actually hooks under there. And as you can see, that brings the bar right down. And these are other support blocks. It's actually, if I lift it up, you can see how it takes it off from there. Okay, let's not dilly-dally with that. First off, what we have to do is separate the top and the bottom half of these units. Using these crank handles, and they're not that bloody light, they're actually, a set of them are quite heavy. Now I've got to watch where I put these because they keep falling over all the time. But sorry if all you get is my back, but now while I'm doing this, I might just go and check the camera to make sure it is being recorded, so I'm going to stop and start again. Okay, I checked a quick video and yeah, it looks like I'm getting everything in focus. Didn't realise you could see me sexy legs, but you'll just have to put up with this. I just find these night shirts bloody comfortable. And secondly, I don't possess any bloody long pants. I think I've got one pair of moth-eaten tracky dacks, but that's about it. Put this out of the way here. No, hang on. Put it here because I'll be lifting the table up. And as you can see, it's not up as high anymore because of the less weight. I'm bringing these out here so I can get at that last one because I've just got far too much shit stacked up against the wall. Come here, little bugger. The secret of these clamps are these angled pieces. As you tighten that up, it actually, there's a metal bar along there. Look, I'll show you on this one and pull it out. It's got a spring-loaded ball in there that actually sits in there, and as you tighten it up, it just pulls that down, thus bringing the two clamps, the clamps base and the head together, the lower and upper half. Alright, now let's go and get a sample piece of wood so we can then lay it out. Be back in a sec, don't go away. Alright, we didn't go away. Here we are. These are the pieces of wood. So let's lay it out accordingly. Drag this. I'd like to optimise maximum use of it. So there, pardon the back, but come on. Alright, look, what I'll do is I'll leave that there. I'll put a block there. Another one I'll probably put on the other side. One up here. And let's drop this one. So that'll go in there. Oops, hang on. Set it this way. There. That's that's got that. Now I'll be able to hopefully move this easier. That's better. And then let's try and make the spacings relatively the same. Not that it really matters. One more there. Where's that? No, come on, where's the blocks? There's one. I'll put it there. Right, let's do it the other way. Like that. As you can see, it's scientifically designed, packed at trial and error until it's fit. Right, that's not going to work. Let's do it the other way. Put it on the other side only because this pulling pin is on this side and I might have to move it, but we'll worry about that later. Oh God, here we go. This is where it becomes a real pain in the ass. Shit. Look, I'll turn the camera off while I just space this out. Why waste time watching me trial and error? Actually, things aren't quite as dire. I managed to reduce that pile down to just this, which is nowhere near as bad as what it looked like, although the stack was only half as high and I've cut it in half. Duh, do the sums. Okay, I'm back. I've got some degree of organisation around here. What I've done is I've put a length of timber that's to be laminated across here to get the relative spacings. I've set these up and you'll find that initially this unit was back here, and these are things you've got to be careful of. Like if you set them up depending on where you put these particular bolts through there, you've got to worry, because if I put this little lever down here, if that, actually you'll find that, alright, this has to go on there. I can't push it in, so again, coming from the other side and you're right, and basically you push down on that and that wedges against that to provide its support. Now it's still a bit wobbly, so what I will do now, as you can see I've laid these out so I don't have to adjust them. I can now lift the table up to give it full support. Let's get rid of that stupid thing that's fell down. Get this out of the way, and let's lift the table up and drop the leg down. I don't need to actually put these other side legs down, but I like to, just for the hell of it, just for stability. And they're a pain in the ass, and I like, well, I don't like pains in the ass, but I like to do things the hard way. There you are, we've got it. Now you'll find that these clamps have been laid out so that you can put these in there. Now, to stop these pieces crashing against it, I have got these, good God, where did I put them? I had these, damn it, no, I haven't got them. I haven't got them, doesn't matter, shut up. Personally, I think 19mm, which is what the timber comes in, is far too thick for a box. I'm going to reduce it down on the joint or the thicknesser to probably about 15 mil, maybe even 14. I'll do them all at once so I can get them all the same size. Because, you know, at the end of the day, not only does it add weight, it's just bulky. I'm not going to put you through the hassles of how to thickness stuff, because Jesus Christ, it's pretty hard, and it's also hard to hold the camera. And the tripod's already mounted in the other room, and I don't want to stuff up its setup. So, because I've already started setting up the other thing, and then realised, shit, I better reduce the thickness of this timber. So I brought back in here, and as I said, I just don't want to go through the hassle of setting up the camera because it's hidden in a corner. Okay, I'll do it now, and I'll see you back in the other room. Okay, back again after thicknessing the timber down to 14 mil. I've laid these clamps out to the length of this 900 mil board, and you'll notice that I have adjusted these gizmos to allow for the width of the planks. Unfortunately, I used the wrong bloody tape measure, because this 900 mil wide board was supposed to be 64. So it's going to be about, well, what, 26 mil wider, so I'll have to trim the board down more than I want it to, but that's beside the point. You'll also notice that there's this gap here. It works out, I measured it to about 35 mil. What I have done is I've thicknessed the offcut, a bit of offcut from these to the same thickness. Then I took them down about another 2 mil, or no, actually a mil, down to 13 mil. They're going to be packers in here to stop these metal rods pushing into the timber. And naturally it's got to be narrower, because if these were higher than that, the clamps would be sitting on those. You will notice, or no, well, you won't notice unless I show you, I have got a box full of all these little packers that I use for different thicknesses of timber. As you can see, you might be able to see from the camera, I don't know where it's focused, it does make a mess of it. I've used this on both sides, but it would have done that on pine if you hadn't used this these packers. As I said, I sometimes don't bother checking which side. There you are, that one's been used, and as you can see it's only been marred on one side, not the other side. And again, because often they're pretty well much the same dimensions, like you might find 14 mil wide and 13 mil high, you don't know which is which, so I've put some texture on it, black marker, to know which is the upside, which is again what I've done here. So what I would do is pack the, whoops, upside down, pack these out. Geez, they're pretty long. Hang on, pardon my back. There. Push that up, I'll put that there. Oh, this is fun, much like a jigsaw, and I was going to say I'm one short, but I already put that one on. Ha, you dickhead. Anyway, we've got that. So the next thing to do is basically glue up. Oh, by the way, you might notice that on the side, you probably won't notice because you can't see it, but on the side here I've got numbers on there. Depending on where that is, there's a corresponding number on the top clamp. And I actually put the pin in that same number so they're aligned properly. Now at the moment that's aligned on 9, this is on 10, so I'll have to move. Oh, hang on, you mightn't be able to see that. We'll try that again. That was on 10, again you mightn't see that either. I've got no idea what the level of focus is. On 10, I've got to bring it down to 9. I push it through. Oh, come on. And for all intents and purposes, I'm going to do the same with the other 3, so you don't really have to watch me. Let's save a bit of film. I've moved the camera, hopefully it'll give you a better angle of what I'm doing, because I can assure you when I go upstairs and edit this thing, if it doesn't work, there's no bloody way known I'm going to come down here and do it again. So hopefully you'll get to see everything. If you don't, well, tough. I'm sorry, but that's it. Okay, I've got the boards put into place, ready for the glue up. I've only thicknessed it. I don't dress the sides, I just take it straight off the shelf or the rack as is. I won't do that, this will be the first one. Also, as a lot of the joins in this are going to be dovetails and rabbets, rabbits for you technical, I call them rabbits because they breed like bloody anything. Anyway, I only apply glue to one side. Some people say apply glue to both. Some people use dominoes, biscuits, dowels. Bullshit, you don't need it. A good wood joint is stronger than, as strong as, usually if you get a reasonable wood joint you'll never break it along the joint. So I just apply glue to one side, and just bear in mind the more you glue you apply and the greater the squeeze out, and that's usually why I tend to apply it to one side, the more you've bloody well got to clean up. And clean up is a pain in the arse. There you are, that's done. Now the way I like to spread out my glue is with one of these rollers. Although that's quite conducive to having it go everywhere as well. But, and one secret I've found is make sure, shit, I've done it, make sure you get it on the ends. If you don't get it on the ends, you're buggered. Now, I've got a lot of dribble there. It reminds me of when I was a kid. What's his name? Glue on the side is not an issue because you'll sand that off. Glue dribbling down is a pain in the ass because it's more to take off, and it bloody gets glue on these clamps which you've got to eventually clean off. You line it up, push it in. Fortunately, it's not a super fast job, not as fast as you might have to if you're dovetailing. With dovetailing it's a rush job. The first join is no problem, it's when you get to the last bloody join that you're panicking. Then the last one again, over here, bit of glue. Come on. Damn. Bloody. I usually use squeeze bots. In fact, I don't even know why that. Oh yes, I do. The tip of the squeeze bot had clogged up, and I was too bloody lazy to clean it. I'll have to clean it sooner or later, but if I can put it off, I can do it in my own time when I'm having a vino, rather than doing a shooting of a video. Oh Christ, bloody glue everywhere. Hate it. Alright, sorry, getting distracted here. Make sure you get it on the end, because there's nothing worse than the end of a laminate coming apart. Shit. Alright, we'll put it on there. It'll probably dry and it'll take me hours to clean that up, because I always forget to clean up my roller. Now I put a lot on there, more than I normally would like to, only because anybody that's watching this will say, oh shit, you haven't put enough bloody glue on it. I believe in the strength of glue. Alright, that goes on there. Look, I might even just give it a quick clean. Sometimes, depending on the job, I might actually put these, I've actually got, you'll notice, well you haven't noticed, you can't read it probably, but I've got these boards here, and they're actually clamp support, which I might put up on trestles and set the clamps up on trestles rather than rig them up to the wall. That's why I can get under it and clean the glue out from under it. At least this way I can clean the glue out from the top, and what's that squeezed out underneath is, I'll say, the bottom side. Now I've repositioned those clamps, so because of these cam setups, the clamps go in there like that, and with the crank of a handle you tighten them up. Now the beauty of these clamps are, and as you can see, they're heavy duty, they're not like those poopsy Gorilla ones or God knows whatever the hell ones you get. As I said, these are big, heavy aluminium, you know. Aluminium's supposed to be light. Bullshit, didn't tell the manufacturer of these that they're supposed to be light. And because of these features, as you tighten it up, and I didn't show you, but under there there's springs in there, spring loaded and all that. Not only does it pull together, it also pulls it down, and together you get this pulling up, leveling down, so you don't have to stuff around trying to even out the boards. Like these are at the moment uneven, but when I put the clamp on, they'll come back. Anyway, too much talking. Glue is drying. You tighten this up until you get some resistance from it. You can feel it. Put the next one, and I'll put it on this end one. No, bullshit. Put it on this one, it's easier to get to. Better if you don't have that in the way. God, I hope this is all in focus. I'd hate to see you guys miss out on it. And what happened here? Oh shit, don't tell me I've got the glue. It was a bit tight. I might have got a bit of glue on that mechanism, and as you can, no, you can't see it. Alright, bad luck. Trust me, these bloody things are heavy, and it's not the ideal thing for a man with a hernia to toss around the workshop. Right, now they're all tightened up to a certain degree. Now I put a bit of extra force on it. You can start seeing the glue squeeze out, and as you can see, that's virtually, well, not virtually, it's dead flat. It's brought the two levels together. Now this is sort of like a well, I won't say trial and error. You get a feel for it after a while, but you can't go too far or you rob it of glue. You do, you know, squeeze all the bloody glue out, and then you starve it of glue, or whatever the terminology is. It's sort of akin to a man going without a drink. As I said, I'll clean up, or I'll spread the glue all over the place, but I'll be sanding this, so that'll definitely come off. And the chances are I might have to do a bit more, you know, a bit of enough sanding, but it'll be relatively level sanding because all the pieces will be aligned. Now, as I said, there's no scientific thing here. I do it by feel. I've done enough of, I've done thousands of clamps. In fact, these clamps are actually quite expensive. And in the first couple of years that after I bought it, I made a lot of clamps for friends, acquaintances and all that. And yeah, I charged them for it because, Jesus Christ, you know, as I said, they were about $300 or $400 each. And within about 6 months, they paid for themselves. And then they got the work for free, other than maybe my time and that bit of material, but it was virtually as good as free once they paid for themselves. Okay, they're ready to set up. Now what I often do is I've got these woodpecker clamps. Actually they're not too good because I've only got a small piece here, but the idea of them are you get them together, you put them on the end of the board, clamp them, and it actually aligns the ends, brings the ends perfectly together. That little channel there is designed to stop the, for glue squeeze out. However, they're not designed for such small piece in between, so they don't actually, the squeeze glue, the seam line is not along the center of that groove. However, having said that, it's aluminium, so the glue will come off quite easy. You can, and I have used to make these only because I had these things, but I saw it in a magazine. I thought, oh, nice idea. Why the hell I tried to do it, I've got no idea. But I made these. As you can see, that sits over the glue line, and you can make this whatever size you like. But it was an interesting exercise, but totally wasted because I've got these bloody things. Nevertheless, I shall put them on because I've got them. Clamp them up. Now, where's the other two? Because I've got a shitload, well, when I say shitload of them, I've got 6 of them. Only because you usually, I very seldom clamp together more than 4 panels, or 4 boards I should say, to make a panel. And naturally, 4 panels have 3 seams. 3 seams, well, each panel has 2 ends. Do your sums, 2 times 3. As I always keep saying, 2 times 3 is equal to 6, even for large values of 3. Okay. I'm spending more time than I planned to, but that's because these bloody clamps are worth a lot. No. As I said, a lot of people probably have never seen these clamps or even heard of them. And look, for a hobbyist, they're bloody expensive. But for a cabinet maker who does it, they're certainly better than bloody pipe clamps. And they're better than those cheapo ones you get at wood shows and all that. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, these clamps are actually made in Australia by a chap named I think he's might be Italian or something like it. Very nice guy. Very, very pleasant to talk to. Unfortunately, he's so pleasant he doesn't seem to be an aggressive salesman, or doesn't strike me as one. And I don't know whether he's actually hit the American market or not. But anyway, that's it. Oh, I didn't put this. Not that, it doesn't really matter. They sort of semi-self-align to some degree. And that's it. So what I'll do now is let it dry, give it about an hour or so, and bide my time by seeing how many glasses of vino I can have. No, glasses, bullshit, casks. Alright, catch you later, as in later on. Bye. Okay, it's been more than an hour since I left, so I don't know, I might have a bit more trouble getting the glue off, the squeeze out off, than I would like to. Anyway, I'll be moving this into the other room, but before I do and move the camera, I'll show you what I would do, taking these things off, what I would do with regards to the other glue up, the other panels glue up, because it's a different size. Now, getting the crank handle, undo all these. just even here. That's tight. There's something, could need a bit of oil or whatever. I'll have to check this one out. That does seem rather tight. Oh. Before I finish this video, I might actually try and weigh one of these top clamps I should say. I'm not going to weigh the bottom one only because it's true that, and I don't particularly want to start dismantling it, although it is dismantleable, but I don't want to. For the sake of the exercise, all I'll do is weigh one and basically double it. There you are. There it is. As you can see, there's a bit of squeeze out, but when I get rid of that, that looks pretty good to me. No ridge, it doesn't seem to be, other than the squeeze out where there is little squeeze out. Yeah, so that's that. Put that aside. Now I'll grab another one, another configuration. Here we go. Slap that in. Hopefully this will be enough for the sides. Now I'll have to move the clamps in a bit because they do overlap, and again I won't bore you shitless with that. But what I would then do is pull this out, hope you can see it, bring that in and put that in there. Now you'll see it won't fit. Now either I make these skinnier, or alternatively I can put that in there, slap that there, and then go through my little box of tricks and try and find, there you are, something like that. There's enough play in there that it'll probably take up that space. No, is that tall enough? Depends on how thick it is. Yeah, no, that's too high. Sorry, that's probably blocking your view. No, that's too high. Put that there. But yeah, it's going to be just a case of playing around until, yeah, that's a 12.5. Could put that there and maybe grab one of these. Yep. Now if I can find enough of these, I need another 3 more. Or look, I could probably cut another packer and trim it down. But unfortunately, I can't get that in there unless, as I said, I make a very thin one. I might just do that. I might have enough left over to trim off. Hang on, how much would I need? Oh no. Yeah, I'd only need about a 12mm gap. So yeah. Anyway, that'll give you an idea of what I have to do. I'd bring that in. As I said, I'd have to make a skinnier one than that. 3 of them for across the back. The front's okay. And then go through the same process. 3 boards, so 3 layers of glue, and that's it. Okay, I'll dismantle this. I'll go in next door and see if we can do a quick job on the cleanup. Okay, here we are again, back with the panel. Now is it? It's not in the way, is it? Yes, it is. Let's move that out of the way so you get a clear view. Okay, what I use for these initially is my glue plane. It's a dedicated plane. I don't know again how well you can see it, but it's got these risers there, blade goes down, and the whole intent is to actually just cut off the glue line. Put it on, run it along, and voila, all the glue is gone. There you have it. It's pretty good. flip it over. As you can see, it's probably a bit proud. There you have it. And there's all your glue bits. Now that's ready for sanding. Not much stuff. Hang on. I'd probably go down to start off on. I usually go quite stupid, and when I say stupid, start off on 180. It's 240. That's 100. Now, look, I'll try 180 and see where it gets me. Turn it on. I won't talk because you won't hear me anyway. Now you saw how much I did then. Look, I'd probably, in all fairness, look, trust me, there's you can still feel the level, but if I would probably spend about as much time again on 180. Oh, what I hate about these things, you touch it and he goes off. Spend about as much time on this as with 180. Or look, I might even drop it down to 150 for no other reason. Then bear in mind this is straight off the jointer and it's still fuzzy from some sort of the tear out and from the helix type of blades, because I haven't sanded it, hadn't done anything with it. There's still a bit of glue left on because this glue plane is set very light. If you set it a fraction too tight, you start digging into the pine. So it is deliberately set light, which means I have to do a bit more sanding. However, having said that, that's about it. Now, normally, as I said, I'd probably go through. I might drop it down to, as I said, 150. I doubt it. I'd probably just spend that extra minute or two on the 180, and then I bring it up to 240, and from then on, that's my panel ready to use. Hang on, let's drop the flips. As I said, that's smooth to the touch. Look, you know, I mean, you'd be a real critical bastard if you started complaining about that already. And as you can see, I've done bugger all to it. This side, let's see, what do we got here? Okay, now I've just concentrated on that area there. I haven't touched that, haven't touched over there. And look, that's it, that's perfectly smooth. There's when I say perfectly smooth, there's no ridge, no discerning feature. The only thing I could probably say is I can actually feel the ridge of between this grain and sapwood and a bit of hardwood or whatever, because maybe the jointer has furred up part of the timber a little bit more, and when I sanded it, it removed it more. But I certainly cannot feel that joint at all. I can actually feel sort of like a depression along that grainy bit. And again, over there I can feel that. I can feel that crossing there more than I can feel crossing over there. And there's nothing here at all. So look, to me, that's why I love those panels. Unfortunately, I don't use them enough anymore because I don't make big furniture. It's just too much of a hassle to swing around and sand and all that. You know, like this is easy to sand, but once it turns into a cabinet, you still got to sand it. You know, you can't just suddenly sand all the sides, put it together and expect it not to have to be sanded. And by the time you flip it over, you know, might start at 180, go up to 240, maybe 320, and if you're really, really meticulous, you might go up to 400. But Jesus Christ, that's sort of flipping it over about a dozen times, and it's not good on the back, and it interrupts your drinking. All right, boys and girls, I think I'm going to close this off. I think that's a good enough demo of the, well, not a good enough demo, but it's given you an idea about the clamps. And I just hope to God that the videos do turn out, because I don't particularly want to reshoot it. I doubt if I would. And if I don't, you'll miss out. If I do, I'll miss out, and I'd rather you miss out than me miss out. Or whatever. Hooroo! Catch you later. And keep safe. Guys, before I leave these clamps alone, look, I'll give you a quick rundown on how they operate. This back guide is locked in by this pin here according to where you need it. This front guide, it gets pushed in by this particular lever. You'll notice it's spring loaded, so it will automatically try and come back this way to when you loosen it up. There is a plastic, a bit of perspex on top of here to keep the glue, there you are, there's glue there already, keep the glue off the spring. So it is quite well made. It's extruded alum, or whatever they call it, aluminium, so it's well constructed, it's rugged as shit. Now if you zip across to the other one, I'll try and demo, hang on, I'll get in a bit closer and you might see how it operates. As you tighten the handle up, this unit in here pushes on, which pushes the bits of timber together. And because of this 45-degree angle, as you tighten it, it gets drawn down on this bar down here, and it's pulled down together, it's pulled down as well as being pushed across. And there you have it. I haven't got any packaging, so I'm not going to do any further. I don't want to mar this wood. But that's effectively it. Now, for all it's worth, just one final thing. Hang on, I'll quickly switch the camera off and come back. Alright, one final thing. It does come with this, hang on, can you see it? Aluminium extension piece, which you can then push in here. Hang on, let's get this right. Push it in, you'd probably push it in up to that hole there. Put one of these pins through it, like, hang on, like so. But naturally you'd be doing it at the other end, and then plug what would be classified as the top piece on the other end. And look, it's not the best, but suddenly now you've got double the length of the equivalent of a pipe clamp, because you haven't got the top one to pull down on. You've just got to sort of two put together in a bottom configuration. But as you could see, that you will have well, you have to remove one of those off one of them. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, with the use of this aluminium connector, you can double the length of the clamp. So yeah, I think it's really well designed, and shit, I've talked enough about the clamps. You're either going to like it or don't like it, or well, anyway, that's it. Those extensions I haven't really used that much because I do have some pipe clamps there, and actually they're those, if I can zoom in on it, those long, how can I say it, long-jawed jet clamps. They're really brilliant to get into those wide bits of planks that you need to clamp up. Anyway, that's it. Having said that, I hardly ever use those pipe clamps anymore ever since I've got these. Okay, that's it this time. Whoa, we'll go the other way. Zoom out and fade off into the sunset. Before I actually fade off into the sunset, as promised, here's the narrower board configuration setup. I made a couple of skinnier blocks, as you can see, or I had a couple of these left over, trimmed them down, cut them in half. They'll do, they fit in there. This one's a tight fit. Naturally it all gets taken up with the spring loaded part in there, and there you are, ready for glue up. This time I'm off into the sunset. Bye. Hell, I'm worse than this bloody COVID-19 virus. I keep coming back to infect you people. Just as a matter of info, I did get the scales. I jumped on the scales, freaked out, but then again I wasn't surprised. But I grabbed one of these clamps and it added about 6.5 kilos to my weight. So assuming that there's not much weight difference between the top and the bottom, that's 13 kilos. Look, that's not super heavy, but when you're holding on to one end, balancing at the middle, it does become a bit heavy. And if you've got a heap of glue ups, lifting it off, putting it back on, lifting it on, putting it back on, not very good for an old man like me. This time, I hope it'll be goodbye. Well, goodbye for this session of the video take. I might be taking more videos later. Bye. Like a bad smell, I keep coming back to this room. For all those people that are curious to know why I bother with these bloody expensive woodpecker ones as compared to these little blocks, well, I'll show you and you might understand. To put these on, oh, by the way, if you get glue on them, they'll stick to your timber for a start, the aluminium won't. But to put these on, put one there, you balance that one there, try and pick the spot, grab your clamp and you put it on. Hang on, we'll do it this way. Undo this clamp, put that over there, and try and align it and put the clamp on. Beautiful. Now the alternative is this stupid thing. Ah! Not sure how far I'll go with regards to this frontline clamp exercise, but just to show, the panels made are now going to be routed with dovetails. So yeah, just to keep you in the loop. Boys and girls, this is more bloody comebacks than Dame Nellie Melba. Anyway, just to finish it off, this is the box that the panels were made from. For, I should say. You notice I did a bit of a laser engraving on the front here and a bit of a logo thing on the back for a Milwaukee trimmer. And really, this is what the box was made for. Voila. It's a trimmer primarily with a plunge base and offset base, a few dust extractions and a few gadgets. Yeah, it's designed to keep the bits and pieces together. this box hasn't been finished yet. I've still got to put a finishing coat on it, probably a bit of wipe on poly, but just showing it to you just so I can get this bloody video out of the way. And that's it. Uru, and this time Uru. Keep safe.